Okay, so this article is by PC Tablet. Marvel Rivals Season 1, a promising start with lingering concern. Posted on January 10th, so 4 days ago. Marvel Rivals Season 1 brings exciting new content, but concerns remain about character balance, content updates, and monetization. Can NetEase address these challenges and secure the game's future? NetEase Games' Marvel Rivals has burst onto the scene, captivating gamers with its unique blend of hero shooter action and Marvel characters. Season 1 Eternal Night promises even more excitement with the introduction of the Fantastic Four, new maps, and enticing gameplay changes. However, beneath the surface of this promising update lie concerns that could impact the game's long-term success. The initial reception of Marvel Rivals was overwhelmingly positive. Players praised the fast-paced action, diverse character roster, and unique abilities that set it apart from other hero shooters. However, the honeymoon phase might be over as Season 1 unfolds. While the addition of the Fantastic Four and new content is exciting, some concerns from Season 0 remain unaddressed and new challenges have emerged. Balancing act, heroes and villains. One of the primary concerns revolves around character balance. Season 0 saw dominant heroes like Hela and Hawkeye frequently banned in higher-level competitive matches. I mean, that's the point. You ban the stronger heroes once you're able to ban heroes, right? You ban the oppressive heroes in order for you to have a fair match for both teams. And here's one thing that people don't necessarily really focus on, is that once you get into the pick/ban part of the game, both teams, so let's say your team or my team, let's take this as my team votes to ban Hela. The enemy team can also ban Hela. Therefore, using 2 out of 4 ban slots, each team gets 2 ban slots, right? So if we both ban Hela, then we've effectively wasted a ban slot that could have gone another character, like Bruce Banner or like I don't know, Doctor Strange. I don't know why you'd want to ban Strange, but Doctor Strange or Hawkeye. Anyway, or Psylocke or Black Panther. Black Panther is a really like depends. Like Black Panther is a character that you probably want to get banned, especially if you know who the Black Panther is on the other team. Like, you know that there's a Black Panther one trick, you will want to ban that Black Panther. Anyway, however, beneath the surface of this promising update lie concerns that could impact the game's long-term success. We already read this. And new challenges have emerged. Balancing act, yeah, we read this. One of the primary characters, Hela and Hawkeye, frequently banned in higher-level competitive matches. While NetEase has promised nerfs to these characters and buffs to others like Captain America and Storm, the effectiveness of these changes remains to be seen. Achieving true balance in a game with such diverse abilities is a difficult task, and any missteps could lead to a stale meta or frustrating gameplay experiences. This is fine. Not every character has to be so fine-tuned that they are competitively viable. Take a page out of the League of Legends book. They have over 150 champions, or Dota, who I don't even know how many heroes or champions that Dota has. Not everyone has to be meta. It's okay to have a meta for that season, and then once you realize that some characters are more overpowering than others, you then tweak those characters, and once you tweak those characters, a new meta evolves or a new meta emerges. That is perfectly fine. Not everyone has to be competitively viable. Personally, I found myself gravitating towards certain overpowered characters in Season 0, neglecting others who felt underwhelming. While I appreciate the developers' efforts to address this in Season 1, I'm cautiously optimistic true balance requires ongoing attention and a willingness to adapt to the evolving meta. You don't need true balance. True balance is what Blizzard tried to do with Overwatch, and therefore we got the forced role queue meta. We got the forced role queue. True balance is the issue that Overwatch constantly faces, where they try to balance heroes to make sure that every character is competitively viable. I'm repeating myself here, but I'm just trying to say that true balance does not exist and should not exist. It's fine to have some characters more overpowering than others, yeah, for a season. It's not okay. Okay, so for 3 months, so assuming that each season is for 3 months, okay, for a season, it's okay. However, if it goes beyond that and the developers are really doing nothing to address that problem, then we may look at being a bit more vocal with our concerns. Then there's cause for concern. However, if we look at Season 0 and then we move on to Season 1, yeah, sure, Hela is a very overpowering hero. They nerfed her HP from 275 to 250, so now the Black Panther mains that are not getting banned in those high elo matches are now able to combo the Hela out of existence. Or if Black Panther is banned, you then have other flanking characters like Psylocke, Spider-Man. These characters will now have a bit more of a fair matchup against a character like Hela or even Hawkeye. Hawkeye did get some damage nerfs, and hopefully that should make it easier for them to get punished when they're really out of position. I still think these two characters are very strong, and it's perfectly fine. They've tweaked them down. Let's see how it goes, right? If it's still a bit of a problem, then we can be a bit more vocal with these issues. Content, cadence, and longevity. Another crucial factor for the game's success is the consistent delivery of engaging content. While Season 1 brings a respectable amount of new additions, the long-term plan remains unclear. Will NetEase maintain this momentum with subsequent seasons? How frequently can players expect new heroes, maps, and game modes? A clear content roadmap would alleviate concerns about the game's longevity and provide players with a sense of anticipation. Drawing from my experience with other live service games, a lack of consistent updates can lead to dwindling player numbers and a stagnant community. Okay, so here's a couple of things, right? Yes, it would be nice to have a clear content roadmap, but we also have to bear in mind that we just got Season 1. Season 1 is a mega season, so it's effectively 2 seasons in 1 season. We shouldn't be expecting every season to look like this. The developers have made that very clear. Every video that you watch on YouTube, even including this one, is going to tell you that. You shouldn't be expecting it. From the way that I see it, look at Season 0. When it first launched, we got quite a bit of content in terms of skins. So those skins were probably in development. It required people to work on them. And then towards the end of Season 0, we also got a new game mode, right? Which was the Jeff Winter Splash Festival. It had its own event season pass, right? So we also have Season 1, which introduced a new free-for-all game mode. We got new skins in the Battle Pass. We're getting four new heroes. We're getting... We're getting a lot more things. And we're also probably most likely, from the way I understood the developer video, is that we're probably going to be getting a PvE type of mission as well. This is more important, right, for them to put out, for them to work on, than a clear content roadmap. Why? Because all of this work that they're putting in, all of these things, until things go live, so until the go live date, they're working on these things. Now, would you rather take resources away from things that are still being developed, that are going to launch this season? You kind of have to weigh the pros and cons on these things, right? Anyway, a clear content roadmap would alleviate concerns about the game's longevity and provide blah, blah, blah. We read this, and we read this. A lack of consistent updates, we currently don't have that. And even with in terms of the game's longevity, why are you so worried, or why would you even get worried about the longevity of the game? Just play the game today because it's really good and enjoy it now. Why are you thinking about how it's going to be 6 months down the line when for the next 3 months you have XYZ things to do in the game? You can do your achievements, you can farm out the battle pass, you can learn a new hero, you can try grinding competitive, you can try, I don't know, getting some really sick clips in the free-for-all Doom match, I think that's what it's called. You can do a lot of those things, right? And it doesn't, although a lack of consistency of this can lead to dwindling player numbers, we are currently not in a position where we are lacking for consistent updates. We just got 2 new maps. Okay, we're going to be getting a new game mode. We got 2 new heroes. We're going to be getting 2 more new heroes. So there's a lot more in store for now. Until Season 1 ends, we don't really have to worry about this because the Rivals community is eating good for now. Once we stop eating good, then it's time to find our next meal. Monetization model, a balancing act. As a free-to-play title, Marvel Rivals relies on in-app purchases for revenue, of course. While the current system seems reasonable with cosmetic items and a battle pass, there's always the risk of predatory monetization creeping in. Will future updates introduce pay-to-win elements or exorbitant prices for desirable content? What is this? Oh, no. Go back. A word of caution about Marvel Rivals Season 1 and the game's future. Is this it? Did they just... What the heck? PC tablet. When I click on this link, it either... it's taking me to Pakistan lifts ban on YouTube by launching local version. Like, look at that. Okay, I'm going to left click. I'm not going to open on a new tab. Well, look at this. What? There's an issue with your hyperlink here, buddy. Let's see, what's the actual link address? There's an issue with their hyperlink. Can we comment? No. Will future updates introduce pay-to-win elements or exorbitant prices for desirable content? This is a delicate balance that NetEase needs to maintain to avoid alienating its player base. I've personally witnessed other free-to-play games fall victim to aggressive monetization, ultimately harming the overall experience. The monetization model currently is fair. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's really good than its competitors. You are getting, right, with the season pass, for $6, you're getting 10 skins. You're also getting a season mission thing, like a season mission road map thing to complete, where you're also getting another skin. So that's 11 skins, if you think about it, by the way, which is for free. They are adding skins to the shop at, okay, they're about $20, which is, how much are Overwatch's skins again? That's its main competitor. I think it's around $25, or even if it is $20, that's not really a big deal. And I don't understand why you would say, will future updates introduce pay-to-win elements or exorbitant prices for desirable content? If they haven't done so far, why would they do it later on? Sure, Overwatch started off like this. Like, they introduced heroes directly into the game with Overwatch 1. And then with Overwatch 2, there was the whole issue with, oh, if you want to play this hero right now, you got to buy the battle pass. That was the problem. They could do it, but I don't think that they're stupid enough to copy their competitors' mistakes. Right now, they're doing what their competitors did right, and they're trying their best to avoid what they did wrong. And in terms of the price point for the skins in the shop, I genuinely think that there's not really a big deal, because if you want to buy the skin, you can buy the skin. It's not going to give you a competitive advantage. At the same time, at least when you're playing the game, you can see the character and you can see the skin that you're playing. So I think this is just fluff that they added into this article to give it a bit more. Otherwise, it would have been quite a short article. Just a couple more paragraphs. I've personally, and the fact that they haven't even put in, like, I've personally witnessed other free-to-play games fall victim. What other games? Are you talking about Overwatch? Okay, and what else? Destiny 2? Okay, and Fortnite? Like, what? What other free-to-play games? You need to be specific, otherwise you're going to get comments like the one that I'm giving you here, where I think this paragraph and this subheading here is just a bunch of baloney. All right, addressing community concerns. A thriving community is essential for any online game. Yeah, it is. And NetEase needs to actively engage with and listen to player feedback. Addressing concerns, bug fixes, and open communication will foster a positive environment and build trust. What do you think they're doing? No, seriously, what do you think they've been doing? Season 0 saw complaints about hitbox inconsistencies, particularly with Jeff the Landshark's ultimate ability, which got patched in Season 1. While the developers have acknowledged this issue, their commitment to addressing other community concerns remains to be seen. Other community concerns like what? With the environment squishing you together? That is a community concern, but honestly, more often than not, I find it to be like quite funny, especially in the Hydra Charteris bases where the environment squishes you just because the other team captured the point or your team captured the point. And I actually specifically remember this one time, and I mentioned in a previous video, it happened again where there was this Venom. I was against a Venom and I was playing Thor. The environment was changing on the Hydra base and he was trying to get out. I was doing my best to keep him in. Like, if I'm going to go, you're going with me. I'm not letting you escape. You're not leaving me here on my own. And I remember he was trying to wall run to get out, but then eventually we both got smushed. It was hilarious. But yeah, A thriving community is essential. Yeah, no shit. And NetEase needs to actively engage with and listen to player feedback, which is what they're kind of doing. I mean, they listened, they understood, they heard. There were some characters that weren't necessarily performing, which is why Storm got the necessary buffs that she got, which makes her, honestly, in my opinion, a very interesting hero to play around. Like, she's not an assassin type of character like Star-Lord or the Punisher or Iron Fist, but she plays very interestingly where she can deal quite a decent amount of burst damage while at the same time providing interesting utility for her team. So for those of you that play World of Warcraft, it's kind of like an augmentation of Poker to where you can deal some interesting type of that. You're not going to be topping charts, but your main role there is to support your team. So you're more of a support DPS. And I can see it working in some interesting compositions where you're running 1 tank and 3 DPS. That's very, very interesting. And given with the recent Hawkeye nerfs in terms of his like overall damage, Storm might be a interesting character for him there, where she will give him a damage boost, and maybe that'll make him a bit more effective at the longer ranges where he used to be effective. Or a character like Black Widow, Storm giving Black Widow a damage boost, does that actually make her one-shot headshot or does it not? So that's where I find Storm. So what I'm trying to say here is that they are quite open, right? And there are hitbox inconsistencies. There are, okay, Jeff the Landshark. You need to understand that radius-wide ultimate abilities, whether it's Jeff the Landshark or Psylocke, it's a radius. But imagine the radius. So we'll just draw it in Paint real quick, right? So if this is the radius, okay, think of it like a cylinder. It travels upwards, and there's also a wait, that's very low. So if this is the radius, there's also, think of it as a cylinder where it travels upwards. So if you're caught anywhere here, or here, or even if you're clipping through, you will get damaged by the Psylocke, you will get eaten by the Jeff. So whenever you see, don't try to escape upwards, try to escape to the side. As long as you're outside of the main radius, you should be okay. I lost my mouse for a second. Anyway, we're not gonna save that. The competitive scene. Marvel Rivals has the potential to become a major player in the esports arena. They don't have to, although they do have a tournament mode where anyone can join. And if you are interested in that scene, yeah, sure. Esports, if you primarily focus on min-maxing or fine-tuning the game so that it is the most competitively viable game, you will kill the casual player base. And your casual player base is what keeps your game alive. Sure, you have your professionals who create the interesting plays, but that's what draws in the casual players. They try to recreate their own interesting plays. But not everybody wants to be an esports or an esports player. No, not everybody wants to enter this. The fast-paced action and strategic gameplay lend themselves well to competitive play. However, fostering a healthy and sustainable esports scene requires dedicated support from the developers. Sure. As long as you're not tuning the game just for them, or you're not tweaking the game just for their sake. Because similarly, I'm gonna put in a lot of references to World of Warcraft here because that is the game that I've been playing for the majority of my life. When Mythic Raiding was introduced and Mythic Raiding became a thing, the game was then, or the raids then, were then balanced around the top 1% of players, almost alienating the remainder of the 99%. Or now let's take it as the top 5 to 10% at maximum. And 5 to 10%, although it is a large number of players, it's nothing compared to the remainder of your 90%. So if your main gameplay loop, which are raids, and that's what the game was known for so long, is catered only to a percentage of your players, you are then alienating 90% of your community. So if the game is tuned specifically for the, let's say, top 5% of the Rivals community, you're then going to be alienating 95% of the community. And then you're going to kill the casual scene, which you shouldn't be doing. You shouldn't be doing, right? Not everything, which goes back to my point, not every character or every hero or every detail about the game needs to have some sort of competitive viability. Sometimes shit happens, but it's okay. It's okay. I mean, we're here to play a game, have some fun, and laugh. This includes features like ranked matchmaking, spectator modes, and potential partnerships with esports organizations. NetEase's approach to cultivating the competitive scene will play a significant role in the game's long-term success. Now, there's no news about this other than the tournament mode that we have. Also, by the way, you can now skip the tournament mode if you accidentally clicked on tournament when you're trying to go to the store or gallery, right? There is a decent prize pool for anybody that really wants to join, right? That's okay. However, I don't necessarily think that this should be a main focus. Right now, you've just launched your game. Focus on making sure or fine-tuning the game specifically. If you work out or if you iron out all of the bugs, all of the issues, focus on that. And then you can start building the esports scene, right? So you build your foundation for a Coliseum, right? Or you build your foundation for an arena. And then once you've built it, people will go to it. Or if you build a mall, people will go to it. Build it and they will come. I'm not sure if I use that phrase correctly, but I think you get the point of what I'm trying to say here. Looking ahead, despite these concerns, Marvel Rivals Season 1 holds immense promise. The addition of the Fantastic Four new maps and gameplay adjustments demonstrate NetEase's commitment. I mean, you're just... At this point, this article is just trying to contradict itself. At first, over here, you say that they need to make sure that they do this, and then over here you're like gameplay adjustments. It demonstrates NetEase's commitment to delivering a compelling experience. However, the game's future hinges on addressing the challenges of character balance, content cadence, monetization, and community engagement. By prioritizing these aspects, NetEase can ensure the Marvel Rivals thrives in the competitive landscape of hero shooters. Key takeaways. Season 1 is already out, so there's really no big deal. By heeding the... honestly, this article reads as if it was written by ChatGPT. Because if you tell ChatGPT to write an article or write an essay for you or something, it always does this. And then it uses like these obscure words like, by heeding these points, or by something, whatever, these points. It always does this. So I think this part was just like edited by an editor who used ChatGPT to write it. Anyway, overall, it's an article that is, sure, it's telling us the lingering concerns, but these lingering concerns aren't really lingering because they rely on factors that we don't necessarily know yet, whether that's the monetization model. We already know their monetization model, right? And that's selling store skins and selling the battle pass. That's the primary monetization model that they have. We don't necessarily know, is there going to be a future monetization model that's going to come in? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. That all depends on how well their current model is working. Obviously, they are free to change their monetization model as they see fit, because at the end of the day, developers gotta eat. Developers gotta make money to buy bread to eat. Right? And if they're not making money, and if the producers aren't making money, then they're not working for charity. It's not a charity here. Addressing community concerns, sure, there are issues, okay, or there were some issues, but they have shown their ability to listen to feedback, and they've even come out and said that we hear you in the developer video. We hear you, and that's why they made some changes. Specifically, if we're looking at Jeff the Landshark, they did fix the Jeff Ultimate Psylocke. They did allow for it to be mitigated by certain abilities, whether that's the Magneto or Hulk bubbles, so on and so forth. Looking ahead, immense promise, addition of Fantastic Four new maps. Yeah, we're already in Season 1, so all good. Interesting article, bit of a... It contradicts itself in a few ways, but the issues that it's kind of lingering, or the concerns that it kind of has, are things that haven't even happened yet. I wonder how soon on Overwatch setup, Overwatch leagues, and if it's comparable, because these tournaments are on a much smaller scale as opposed to OG Overwatch League. How soon did Overwatch League set up? It took a while, didn't it? Did it set up almost immediately? Let's see. When did OWL start? The league launched in 2018 with 12 teams, each based... So 2 years. The game launched in 2016, and the league was announced to be starting Q3 of 2017, date which later be pushed back to late 2017. Although these tournaments are on a much smaller scale compared to the OG Overwatch League, they still took time to build the game, and then they decided to build the league. Even though they completely mismanaged the whole point of the Overwatch League, they mismanaged that. They had this isn't all of my problems with Overwatch video. This is a article reaction video. But my point here is they had no business killing Overwatch. But it is what it is. But again, for the genre of the game, no one really did it to that scale. Now the roadmap has been paved for Marvel Rivals to do it easier. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they have paved the way for Rivals to do it easier because they understood or they understand what were the strong points that Overwatch had, and they understand where they fell short. So, and that's what I really like about how they're doing this game, or how they're going about it with this game, is that they're watching out for all of the mistakes that Blizzard did when Overwatch was released. Because Blizzard didn't necessarily have a benchmark or have an idea of, because they were technically the first on that scale. They were technically the first company to launch something like that for this specific genre. They didn't really have a guide or a handbook of what to do or what not to do. Although their business practices and some of the deals that they made for the Overwatch League are a bit questionable, but that's up to executive business acumen. That's not necessarily the developer or producer's fault. But yeah.